So sorry, but I'm not taking off my glasses.
Lockyer takes a shot. It's low. He's got it. I think he's got it.
Merlin, are you going to speak?
But for me, it was a winner. David.
Well, I'm afraid it wasn't for me, Margaret.
Thank God you're here. Grandma's been raped.
On. Welcome back to On the Air Tonight, the only free-to-air podcast that once upon a time reviewed free-to-air content, and now the boundaries are down and reviews anything and everything that we feel we would like to talk about.
Onwards and upwards, bigger and better than ever.
Doesn't even have to be a review, Jacob. I suppose everything's a review in some degree. How was your weekend? Oh, it was good. I'm reviewing my weekend.
Yep. Yeah, it's...
How's your day at work? You're reviewing your day at work.
Yeah, reflection becomes review.
Yeah, everything is a review.
Yeah, you suddenly start critiquing everything. Because how else will you know if it's a good memory or a bad memory?
Well, you rate it, right? Mm-hmm. The great art of reviewing is, I suppose the point of reviewing is deciding how much you like something or don't like something.
Yeah.
And where you're going to categorize it as good or bad or in the middle in your head.
Exactly. Like we could both experience the same thing, but we could have two different outcomes of mood. For example, last Friday night. Last Friday night. We were drinking lots of beers. We were watching other beers. And he sipped and he dipping in the bar. Rhyming beers with beers.
Yeah, nice.
Hell yeah, dude. Like last Friday night, you were very, very happy with watching the footy, watching your team get up. I was very, very sad in watching my team go down.
Yeah, a night of two halves, really.
It was.
Well, four halves of football, really.
The day started on a pretty somber note. Rest in peace to the late, great Ray.
Ray?
Liotta.
Oh, Ray Liotta. I thought you were calling Andrew Symonds the wrong nickname.
No.
Roy.
Who's Andrew Symonds?
The cricketer.
Okay.
Remember it came on?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Which is another thing, the day of Ray Liotta's death, Jacob saw a story on the news of Andrew Symonds dying.
I was like, oh, is he dead?
Oh, Andrew Symonds died. And I was like, fuck, you're really off social media, aren't you, bro?
Yeah, I'm just completely uninformed. Now, I don't have social media, spoon-feeding me little bits of information here and there.
But that is a reflection, I was saying at the time, it's a reflection on your lack of social media. And it's also a reflection on how we dealt with Andrew Symonds passing as a nation. Because I think we weren't up to mourning another great loss in the cricketing world. After Shane, I don't think the country had another big cricket mourn in us. I think if Shane didn't die a couple of months earlier, Andrew Symonds would have been a huge story. He died in a car crash at 46.
Yeah, and there's no taking away how tragic it is. I think there's just a difference in how renowned the two are. Like obviously
Totally.
Andrew Symonds, very incredibly well known, folklore legend in cricket, pretty well known in Australian sports. Outside of that, not very, very well known. Whereas Shane's someone who transcended that. There's photos of him with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He was seen as like an A-grade celebrity from Australia on Steve Irwin's level.
Totally. You're not going to get Andrew Symonds on the Jonathan Ross show, whereas Shane Warne was.
Sure.
On British talk shows. Clearly there was no comparison between Warney and Andrew Symonds. But I still think, I just don't think I think we mourned so hard after Warney that we couldn't do it again for Roy.
Sure. Yeah. And also, it was just like you mentioned it yourself and touched on it, that it was kind of overshadowed by Ray Liotta passing away.
Yeah, which was very sad. We haven't spoken to you guys since Ray Liotta passed. We almost lit up a couple of stogies on Friday just in...
If we could find cigars, if our little baby pink virgin lungs could take it.
Yeah. Do you guys have any grape-flavoured I Get stogies? 3,000 puffs for mine. Sir, this is a cigar. It has maybe 4 or 5 puffs in it.
4 or 5 puffs, you reckon?
Well, I haven't smoked a stogie in a while.
It definitely doesn't have 4,500 puffs like an I Get.
No, so it's a waste of money as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you might look cool, but combustion?
No.
I'm here for the environment. What, you mean those disposable plastic things you suck on for for a whole week and
then
throw
out?
Yep. It's better than burning something for 20 minutes.
What happens to the stogie afterwards? Goes in the bin. Bad for the environment. You wouldn't catch Ray Liotta puffing a fucking grape I get.
No. No, there's actually I remember when I was in the States, there was a great I can't remember the whiskey, or it was like a whiskey or a bourbon ad. And it was played it had Ray Liotta in it, and the music that was playing in the background was A Bold Arrow of Time by Tame Impala. If you know that track.
I don't.
You will when you hear it.
Is this not McConaughey?
No, this is Tame.
No, is this not the McConaughey ad?
No, this isn't Wild. Oh, they might use it in Wild Turkey.
Okay.
Anyway,
Very cool.
You
Very
can imagine
cool.
this.
Yeah.
Ray Liotta walking in, strutting over, and he gets to the bar, and like he goes, like puts his finger up, says 1, and then the dude like pours him like a whiskey, no ice, neat, and he looks over, and there's two like metrosexuals, we'll say. There's two very, very dapper, clean, manicured men. They both have these like blue daiquiri, like in like a martini glass, and they're like cheersing with like a pinky out, and like he just looks over, cheers them like ironically, and just goes, and it's just like, drink this whiskey if you're a man.
Yeah. Such toxic masculinity. Yeah. I'm Ray Liotta, motherfucker.
You can have a blue liquid drink if you're a Mary.
Yeah. That's the equivalent of if there was an ad for cigars, it would be those two metrosexual males puffing on pink vapes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And he'd be pounding a stogie.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, it's two furries outside the fur convention puffing on vapes and crying.
Totally.
And he just walked past with
Cool
like
as fuck.
Yeah, with
acne scarred.
for some reason
hair
wearing,
receding, slicked back.
wearing Spurs in 2022.
He
just
can do what he wants.
clinking along.
It's Ray, dude.
Yeah, it is Ray.
If you don't know who Ray is,
Grow
Goodfellas,
up.
bro. Yeah, absolutely grow up, and also Goodfellas, and most Scorsese gangster films that ever been made.
Yeah, well known to be typecast as either like mafioso grunt,
Yeah,
capo, or being a dirty cop.
a dirty cop. Played a great dirty cop. Place Beyond the Pines.
Place Beyond the Pines.
Oh.
That's what I'm thinking. I was like, what movie did I see him as a dirty cop? That's right. Bradley Cooper trying to be the Boy Scout.
Yeah, Gosling, hot as fuck, face tats, motorcyclist, bank robber. Fucking watch Place Beyond the Pines. It's one of my all time.
It's a fantastic movie. I know like, we might have even spoken about it on the podcast before, or like just off mic, where we like, I think the only thing wrong with that movie is that it seems a bit stretched in reality with like the tie that it has in the end. Like
the third act
the third act
breaks the belief barrier for sure.
but definitely worth a watch.
Worth a watch.
You got Cooper, you got, as Tom said, tatted up Gosling. You see his rig. You see him riding a motorbike, him falling in love. That's where him and Eva
Blonde peroxide hair.
Blonde peroxide hair, couple of like little like SoundCloud eye tattoos. And that's where he met Eva Mendes. So, you know, it was a fruitful set for many reasons.
Oh, totally. You tell me they weren't fucking in the, I don't want to say it wouldn't be in the equipment trailer because they'd have their own first class hotels, I'm sure.
Or their own trailer on set.
But if they weren't bumping uglies on set, I'm not here. They were fucking. Another thing in Place Beyond the Pines is Ben Mendelsohn, GOAT, Aussie actor.
Oh, yeah.
One of the great performances.
100%. Yeah, that's the thing. The movie just has you constantly little gems in it. Like, I mean, since watching a bit more of his stuff, Mendelsohn, probably one of Australia's greatest actors, and also like severely underrated.
So underrated. He's memed himself out. He's memed himself out a little bit now in that he's like Star Wars villains, etc. But like, watch Animal Kingdom. Mendelsohn's so fucking scary in that, and he's just like a creepy uncle.
Yeah.
His arc in Place Beyond the Pines, if you like rewatch it, it's really subtle and underplayed, but he's in love with Ryan Gosling in the movie.
Oh yeah, 100%. But we won't ruin anything in case you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. Before you do watch that, go watch Goodfellas.
Watch Goodfellas.
Give the tribute to the late, the great Ray Liotta.
Well, we had a plan to watch Goodfellas on Friday night. The plan of the night was we'll come round to Tom's. The Bronx are playing the Titans. Obviously, we win in a famous victory. And then post
31 unanswered points
in the second half, a 24-point comeback.
Clinical
Clinical stuff for the second time in 2 years against the Titans. Um,
What do you say?
Say what you will about that. You be the judge. But the plan was to watch the Broncos get up and then put Goodfellas on at, say, 9:45 when the game finishes.
Definitely was going past 9:45.
Yeah, it went past 9:45 and then the Richmond game was on at the same time, but there was a bit of overlap. So we watched your Richmond Tigers go down, unfortunately, to the Swans afterwards in a heartbreaking match. And by the time that all wrapped up, can I make a bold statement?
Sure.
I think if the Tigers win against the Swans, we watch Goodfellas.
Maybe.
I reckon that soured the mood. I reckon if both our teams got up in close matches, Goodfellas was on and Ray Liotta was on and Stogies were blazing.
What you're saying is if I could take an L a little bit more graciously, then we would have 2.5 hours of Italian American mafia greatness in our minds, in the forefront of our minds,
starting at 10:15 and going through to midnight.
Yeah, okay, that's not a bad hypothesis to make. I think I was just tired.
Yeah, it could have been that.
I think it was like, look, I think we bit off more than we can chew. We're not young men anymore.
No, those plans.
Sorry, putting on a movie at 10:30.
Yeah.
3 a.m. at 10:30.
On a Friday night.
Come on, mate.
Come on. We've got things to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Neither of us did.
No,
it's
neither.
just late and we're hungry. Those ideas are always amazing in theory and then are hard to pull through in practice. We'll watch the Broncos and then Goodfellas at 9:45 through to midnight. It's a tough one. It's like going, come over and watch every Harry Potter movie. We'll do a marathon. By Prisoner of Azkaban, you're fucking done.
If you get there,
you
gotta make your way through those two, not train wreck of a movies. I mean, they're kids' movies at the end of the day, but watching them back can be a little bit tough.
Totally.
Or like even something like Lord of the Rings, where it's like 9, 10 hours, 12 hours of just solid gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, halfway through the second movie, if I'm doing a full marathon, I'm like, I need a break.
Totally. Oh, you need a break. And you can't drink during them either. Or else you'd be fucked. That was our big problem. We were on the beers. And you need to be sober because you can't ride out fucking 6 hours of beers whilst watching football and Goodfellas.
You can try, but you probably need more than beers.
You're going to fail. So that was a great Friday night. I really enjoyed myself because the Bronx got up. Obviously, apologies for Richmond going down. My commiserations.
There's no need to apologise. It's going to be a routine thing this season, I think.
They're not going too well, hey? Outside of Friday, I think we both went on to have pretty ripping weekends.
I mean, it sounds like you did.
Am I just speaking for myself?
You are definitely speaking. You've like, I told you my weekend, and now you've just taken your weekend and go, yeah, both of our weekends were sick.
Well, you're always there in spirit, Jacob. If I'm having a good time, I know somewhere out there, Jacob Puryear, my partner in crime, is also doing the same thing. And even if I'm having fun, it's only because of you. I couldn't have as much fun as I do if I didn't have you in my life, even if you're not there.
It's so sweet how you try to pander to me.
It's not
on the air.
And then off the air, you're fucking leave me alone. This is all fake, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a bit.
It's all a bit.
But yeah, so you did have a jam-packed weekend. You ended up messaging me Saturday afternoon saying, hey, come to the Teneriffe Festival.
Teneriffe Festival. One of the greatest festivals that Brisbane has to offer, I think.
One of the only festivals Brisbane has to offer.
Well, I'd say it's unique. It's probably not even the best or the only, but it's unique in that they block off Teneriffe. Wool stores are there. On your right, you've got the river on your left. And it's just like a big block party. It's $15 to get in. I saw Ben Lee of Catch My Disease.
Catch My Disease, yep.
We're all in this together.
I told Reese today, I was like, yeah, the most wholesome one-hit wonder you've ever heard, but I forgot he had We're All in This Together. Yeah. Well, two-hit wonder.
Everyone forgot he had that because he, did all of his old songs that all of his new songs that no one knows. Obviously saves his classics for the end. And he plays Catch My Disease. We're all like, sweet, that's it. And then he pulls out fucking We're All in This Together. I don't think anyone in that crowd remembered that he had that song.
With his set, I mean, when did Catch My Disease come out? Like 2003, 2004, so nearly 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Obviously, metaphor for Catch My Love, Catch My Wholesome Infectious Energy.
I'd say so.
Kind of a not treacherous, but interesting time or peculiar time to be pulling out a song about catching a disease?
Well, I would say that he pulled that from the set list over COVID.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I would say that he wasn't performing at all over COVID. Now that we're coming out the other end of it, sure, maybe it hits a bit close to home.
Yeah, there's probably not too many people signing up for the one night only online stream show of Ben Lee in his mum's basement.
I don't think he had a massive online career, considering his big gig of 2022 is playing Teneriffe Festival, which is a $15 entry. But it was just cool to set out that is Teneriffe Festival. You've got like buildings either side of you, you're just jam-packed into this little Manhattan of Brisbane and all these people just flooding in. And then you've got, because you're right beside apartment buildings that are all exposed brick, it all looks very hot, very metropolitan. You've got people hanging out the side of them watching. Like they've got the best seat in the house, right?
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. There were people hanging out. There was one couple that were, because everyone's kind of looking up at them. You've got thousands of people in the street.
Sure.
Yes, you're looking at Ben Lee on stage because let's be honest, you can't take your eyes off him.
It's Ben Lee.
It's Ben Lee. And yes, you're looking at him, but then you've also got all the people in the windows who are kind of the main attraction as well. There was one couple that were, I think they knew that we were watching and they were making out a bit too hard.
You think they were putting on a show for you?
A bit of voyeurism going on. They were a bit tipsy. They had wine. They were maybe mid-40s.
A couple of thespians.
I think the guy was a bit more into it than the girl.
A little bit campy.
Yeah, I think the guy was really showing off that he was making out.
Did he like do the romantic when like two love interests in a movie kiss? Like, did he kick his like heel up?
No, there was no heel up.
Okay.
But he did prepare a bowl of spaghetti bolognese and they both ate it at both ends and kissed in the middle.
Okay.
All above Ben Lee, which was crazy.
That is wild.
But they were making out a bit too hard. I knew that he wanted everyone to watch. So I might have yelled out, "Get a room."
Yep. Okay.
Filled with irony, right? Because he's in a room. He's in his own apartment.
Yeah. I have a room. I'm in it. Where's your room?
But he
starts getting real defensive about it.
Fights the one guy in the crowd yelling at him.
$800 a week for the studio apartment, baby.
You think you could afford this?
Can you?
This is the wool stores, buddy. Where do you live?
I'm an anesthetist, okay? Anesthetist.
You know what she does? I don't know. I haven't asked her yet.
Doesn't matter. I make the money.
I live here alone. Yes, I paid her for the night.
No, I didn't tell her I'd be kissing her.
She is a lady of the night.
Yes, we're locked on the balcony.
Yes, she charges extra to be watched by thousands of people.
But yeah, I mean, I think best way to sum up the Teneriffe Festival, Brisbane's biggest beer garden. It's built for drinking and was perfect weather on the weekend.
It's beautiful.
First sunny Saturday we've had in yonks.
Yeah.
Sun's out, beers are cold, music's on the street, people hitting the pavement, picnic tables, good food, good laughs, great company. What more could you ask for?
What more could you say about it?
That's it.
I think that's it. I think Jacob's wrapped it up. Teneriffe Festival, definitely check it out next year.
And so was anything else about your weekend spectacular? I mean, you described our weekend as pretty amazing. So clearly some more shenanigans went down.
Teneriffe Festival was good, and then Sunday rolled into beer garden at the Triffid.
Thought you were going to say Sunday rolled into Monday.
It was spectacular. And now we find ourselves here. Monday rolled into Tuesday.
What a barrel of laughs.
Yeah. No, beer garden, Triffid, Will Wagner of Smith Street Band. TAC, check him out if you want some Australian music. Some authentic Australiana, non-cringe music that sounds authentically Australian.
Okay.
Is that a good write-up of the Smith Street Band?
It's not bad. If you do like Aussie music, sorry to cut you off. If you do like Aussie music and you're around Teneriffe this weekend, there is the free event of Sonic Masala, which is a music festival hosted and organised by some local heroes down at 4ZZZ Community Radio. So head down there, 3 till 5. You get free music in the beer garden for a couple of hours. If you happen to go there, you'll see Mui there. And
Jake will be there doing a surprise appearance.
Maybe Tom.
Well, maybe we'll do a couple of signings while we're down there.
Yeah, maybe we'll just do an outdoor set.
Do you think Branko wants us to do a live potty?
Probably not.
Yeah, okay. Not there yet.
Why ask for permission when we could just
steal a couple of microphones?
Do something that's unforgivable.
Can you imagine? Because they say like fake it till you make it.
In what context?
In the context of like act like the biggest podcast in the world, and then you will be the biggest podcast in the world.
Sure. Yep. Have that fake confidence into yourself until it actually comes
to fruition.
Sure.
Right. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
I'm with you. Yep.
Do you think if you just a couple of guys had microphones on a stage, like if we just got up there and we were like, "Hey, we're on the air tonight. We're a podcast." Because we're on stage and we have microphones, do you think people would be fooled that we're a big deal?
It's interesting. Like I've had this conversation with people in the past where if you do act with some level of authority, then you can get places you're not meant to be. Like it is specifically all about mindset. Like I've done like backstage work at festivals where I've had to write. I'm a writer, so I run drinks for people.
Yeah.
And I'm also just managing a band. I've been around local gigs, and there's been points where like I haven't been allowed to get like either to the back of a venue or backstage or whatever the case may be, and you say a couple of the right words that are essentially open sesame.
Yeah,
mate, I'm with this guy. Have you checked with the venue manager? I'm meant to be coming in. If you sound confident, sound like you're in a bit of a rush, like you're a bit impatient.
Yeah.
Then like you act entitled, you will be entitled to get in.
Totally. You act entitled, you will be entitled. And you can, at the end of the day, always just say, "Hey, I'm the band manager."
Yeah.
If Ash Grove's there.
Yeah.
Ash Groove's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're talking about times when Ash Groove isn't there and you're just working your way in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I've wanted, like when I've worked at or volunteered at festivals in the past, if I want to go back and get free drinks backstage, like 4 hours after my shift's ended, just walk in and walk confidently. Don't look around tentatively.
Yeah.
Telling this advice to people. So we're going to have a lot of break-ins to festivals and events over the next couple of months.
All off the back of confidence.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, fake it till you make it.
This man robbed a bank. He just confidently asked me for the money.
Fake your qualifications to make it backstage.
Totally.
Does that answer your question?
That answers my question a lot. So I think ipso facto, we're doing a podcast at the Beer Garden on Saturday.
Sure.
We're stealing a couple of mics.
Yeah. I think be prepared to break out the line. Do you have any fucking idea who I am?
Yeah.
Be prepared to like be the millennial male Karen.
Well, at the end of the day, you're dealing with a security guard who's a hired hand who's there for the night. What authority does he really have outside of his high-vis?
Yeah. Yeah.
We put a lot of stock in guys just because they have a fucking logo embroidered on their polo.
Yeah. And they most of the time don't look that menacing.
No, of course they're not.
But they could still...
they could fuck you up.
They'll snap you like a twig,
I'm not saying get into a scuffle with anyone. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But they can be convinced.
You're an arguer, not a fighter, I'd say.
I'd say that's accurate.
Love an argument.
Love an argument of words, not an argument of fists.
I think...
Which is just an argument.
I think the times that I've seen you getting kicked out of venues, the one line that you like to use is, does this make you feel big? Hey? Feel like a big man? You've done that before at Fridays for sure. Just like getting kicked out for vaping on the dance floor, and you're just like, does this make you feel big, eh? I'm friends with the bartender.
That is the last resort. That is when you've conceded defeat and you just gone, okay, I'm going down swinging here.
And it's like, it's not going to affect him. It's just going to make you feel like, if I just spit a little venom, I'm going to feel a little bit less silly about my situation.
It's so true. I've done that on the Gold Coast at elsewhere many times before. I've been giving a guy a lot of back chat, and he's like, I remember this sec, he like pushed me onto the ground once. I was a lot younger. So I just would have been this fucking gross little 18-year-old.
Like 20, 25 kilos soaking wet.
Yeah, as opposed to a gross 27-year-old. Gross little 27-year-old.
27 kilo, yep.
Yeah. And he really didn't let me in. Had words with him and he like shoved me backwards and I fell. This big Kiwi dude. In front of a queue of like 100, 200 people at the Elsewhere line. Like people queue up for Friday at Elsewhere.
So straight away it's like the hairs on the back of your neck are pricked up.
Yeah.
You feel your face going beet red. It's like, I've just been humiliated.
I've been humiliated. And this guy, I'm not saying he's reveling in it, but he's done it.
And he's standing over you, just
and
mean mugging you.
All I did, so fucking cringe and gross to think about. But like walking off, I was just like, like yelling at the crowd. Oi, everyone going to Elsewhere. They beat up their patrons. It's fucking sick. Yeah, go in. Yeah, they'll manhandle you. Like I haven't just totally earned the beat down.
Yeah. The funny thing is, it doesn't matter if you were the perfect patron and then like if you got accosted for no reason, if everything done against you was completely unjustified, if it was the most unfair thing that happened in the world, you throwing a tantrum down Cavill Avenue, going, they'll beat you up. Like it straight away, you're the bitch.
I've copped an L.
Doesn't matter
I'm
if
a fucking loser.
If you've been done wrong by,
Yeah.
you are the bitch in this situation.
100%. Because no one knows what happened prior. No one knows. All they see is this little squirrely kid moaning about, they'll beat you up. And that's all. They see that in a vacuum. They don't know the context that the guy was rude to me or I really wanted to get in.
Was this your first time getting rejected from a lineup or like a club?
I doubt it.
Okay.
It's one of them.
You don't remember the first time you got rejected?
No.
Interesting.
Do you?
I suppose I do because it was the first club that I lined up for on my 18th birthday.
Yeah, okay.
So my 18th birthday, probably had like 10 mates around to mine for a few drinks and then headed out, as was the rite of passage. Fresh new outfit, 18 years old.
Looking average as fuck.
Full-time wage. Yeah. I mean, I probably was because I was...
in retrospect, you felt amazing, but you would have looked like everyone else.
I probably didn't because I was wearing... I can still remember my outfit. I was wearing skinny cream chinos, red Vans, and then like a 3XL white tee, and then over it like an even bigger like plaid long sleeve plaid shirt.
Very cool.
The white t-shirt was a really young Christopher Walken blown up.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm kind of niche.
Guys,
I like film guys, but when they're young and no one recognizes them.
Have you guys heard of pop culture?
You heard of, hey, I'm Walken here.
It's called a conversation starter, guys. Hey, girls. You want to talk to that guy or the fucking Christopher Walken clad?
Was definitely the biggest, like female or even just conversation repellent that night, just based on what I was wearing.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, lined up at my first club. Got to the front of the line, and Secchi pulls me out. And he's like, "How many drinks tonight you had, bro?" And I was like, "Oh, probably like 2 or 3." He's like, "Let me see some ID." And I was like, "Yeah, right. Here's my ID." And he's like, and I was like, "It's actually my birthday today." And he's like, "Oh, well, happy birthday. You got to fucking go home though. You're too drunk." And I was like, "I've had like 3 drinks, man. I'm not like..."
You actually had 3 drinks?
I barely had anything because I was like, "Oh, I want to be sober for my first night out and have a good time and not be sloppy or anything."
Yeah.
And and he was just like, and he's like, "Well, that's great. It's your birthday, but if you don't get the fuck out of my face, I'm going to throw you into the curb." And I was like, "You got a really friendly voice, but what you're saying is very threatening."
Yeah.
And then like one of my mates just got on his face. He's like, "Are you serious, cunt? It's his fucking birthday. You dropped it." And I was like, "Let's just go to the next place. It's fine. They're going to charge $20 cover charge anyway."
Yeah. I don't have to actually go home. I can go to another bar.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But yes, so good to know that. I mean, I walked away with my tail between my legs as well.
Of course.
But at least I didn't throw a tantrum and go, "Hey, they're kicking out the birthday boy."
Well, you left with your dignity intact, Jacob.
I mean, dignity slightly tattered because of my t-shirt.
Of course, but that's not his doing.
But more intact than yours was.
Totally. And that was my doing. Yeah, there's no shame quite like getting not let into a bar. Remember the State of Origin? Remember the post State of Origin? That guy, after I bought a drink, the bouncer at the Caxton Hotel?
Post State of Origin?
Yeah, I told the story on the pod like our first year.
Sure.
Like we've been going for 10 years.
Oh, yes, I remember. It was a good year. Yes, good year.
Last year. This was the State of Origin special, like episode 7 or something. There was that bouncer who I bought a drink and then he was like standing outside with a... I was standing outside with him. He's like, "You can't fucking drink that out here."
Yep.
And then I was like, "Oh, okay, sweet. I'll go inside." And he's like, "No, you fucking won't." And like slapped it out of my hand, a full beer.
Yeah, dick move.
Yeah, I was like, "You motherfucker."
And I mean, it's their world, so they can be judge, jury, executioner, and dictator if they want to be.
Of course.
And then when the time comes, when the venue manager comes down or their boss, they're victim.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you take it out on the patrons? If you had a shitty life, everyone, when they're in power in any point of your life, if a debt collector calls you, you're usually a dick to them. Like, you only punch down. You know, you in any situation in which you have power, normally you're not that. What do they say? The true tell of kindness is treating those who you don't have to treat well.
Yeah, you're doing things out of the niceness of your heart rather than with the idea that you're going to get something in return.
Yeah.
It's going to be philanthropic more than transactional.
If bouncers were truly kind, they would treat all of us, who they don't have to treat nicely, with the utmost respect.
But also that doesn't work because, like,
It goes both
that is
ways.
one of the least enviable jobs in the
Totally.
world. Like you think about what 99 of the patrons are like, where again, exactly all the stories we've described. With, entitled,
Mm-hmm.
probably way too much money in most circumstances when you're that age.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've gotten a couple of drinks in you don't realize how much of a fuckwit you're being. So their job, I do not envy it at all. If they do try and act nice, or if they try and be pleasant, which I've met plenty of bouncers who are quite respectful, but you can come off like you walk that fine line. If you are friendly, you can come off as weak.
Yeah. As in the bouncer. Yeah. If
bouncer.
you're friendly as a bouncer, you may be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, they've got to have their guard up and be a dick to most people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like imagine like a polite bouncer, like you're a drunk patron just in a bar carrying on, and I've got to kick you out.
I just want to let me vape on the fucking dance floor.
Sorry, g'day, mate. G'day. Look, my name's Terry.
Yeah, what the fuck do you want?
Look,
I'm vaping.
Look, sorry to bother you. I've just been informed by the manager that there seems to be an irate patron.
Irate, Terry, fuck off, cunt.
Look, I do apologise, but we are going to have to ask you to leave.
I do apologise. Mate, I'm staying here and I'm going to vape and I'm going to drink as long as I want to, and you're not going to do shit about it.
Well, yes, you would usually think that by the way that I'm acting very bitchly right now, but how about if I just break your kneecaps?
Yeah, that'd probably work
0 to 100 real quick.
with the nice voice as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a nice one the other day at Howard Smith Wharves. I came out, there was a Kiwi Secchi, and I was a little bit turned, and I came out of the bathrooms and just like, probably because I was a little bit drunk, but I like tripped over a pot plant that was just like in the way. And he looked at, like we clocked eyes for a second after I did it, because I was like, oh.
Just point at him like, you didn't see shit, man.
Yeah. And he just looked at me. He was the sweetest Kiwi guy, and he just laughed. He's like, oh, you're drunk. I was like, nah. And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. Go for it, bro.
Awesome.
So sweet. There's nothing scarier than a mean Kiwi
Moldy.
There's nothing sweeter than a nice moldy as well.
Yeah, they have all the power in the world to just make it sunshine or lollipops.
Oh, dude, he was sunshine. Yeah, he
and that would have
made my day after.
Yeah, exactly. It brightened your mood for the rest of the day. It's like,
Yeah.
I got a thumbs up by one of the happiest blokes I've ever met.
Yeah, something about the Kiwi accent is like the moldy accent, the thick Kiwi accent. When they're happy is like, it just brings joy.
100%. I mean, we described it a little bit when watching what's that? What's Rick Donald's?
Australia's Sexiest Tradie,
No,
or the other one?
The other one.
The Educators.
The Educators.
Yeah.
Even watching that, it's just something about the accent that's just, built for comedy.
Built for comedy. Built for laughter.
Built for lightheartedness.
Maybe that's why you can't take them seriously when they're trying to be angry, you know? I think we spoke about that as well. Jacinda Ardern trying to put policies in place with a nice, funny Kiwi accent. Just comedy, bro. Don't talk to me about climate change in that accent. It's just funny.
Absolutely. Yep. Just be a bit more serious. Be a bit
come
more
on.
robotic.
We'll have an Aussie accent, you know? And then I'll take you seriously.
I don't have an accent. I speak normal, all right? I don't have an accent, all right? An accent's when you're foreign. I'm not foreign.
This is straight down the line. Can't you hear my English heritage?
This is eyes up vernacular, right?
Eyes up vernacular. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll pay that.
Now, Tommy, you wanted to talk a little bit about a show that previously was on free-to-air television. This isn't an official review. You just wanted to give you 2 cents worth on a show that unfortunately is no longer on free-to-air television. It is on a paid network, a subscription. You can find it. I won't tell you what it is, but it does rhyme with Schnetflix.
I watched a bit of Love on the Spectrum over the last couple of days. Over the weekend, I did find time to squeeze in a bit of television. And there's a US version out.
Yes.
Of the great Australian TV show. This is why I don't feel dirty talking about it on a once free-to-air podcast, because it was such a staple of ABC iView for so long.
Sure.
So I think it's play on. But if you do want to find the Australian Love on the Spectrum and the American Love on the Spectrum, you can watch them on a streaming service that sounds like Netflix.
Well done.
Thank you. I watched the US one the other day. I binged it. And I was just almost crying on my couch. It's so fucking sweet. And when I say crying, it's like, it's sweet tears of sweet sadness.
You're not crying in cringeness or
No.
crying tears of laughter.
Some of it, no, I'm not laughing. No. if you were doing that in this show, you're a psychopath.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay.
Is that what you were doing?
No. Come on.
I showed Jake a little bit of the Australian Love on the Spectrum before this episode, and I think he enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yep. I almost felt bad making jokes.
Yeah. Again, we should. But just it's not misery, sadness. Apart from one character, if you've seen the US Love on the Spectrum, there's a character called Joe who's like a 60-year-old. You saw on the Australian one, a lot of them are 20s, early 30s. So they still have hope. They're still holding out. This guy's
hopeless old man.
Hopeless old man.
Never going to find anything.
Has never been in a relationship, and he's like 65. But also the difference in his upbringing is we have such an awareness around autism now and what is it? Neuroatypicalism. There's just so much awareness around autism and what it is. When he grew up, there was none of it. So people were less forgiving to his strange behavior. So he's just had, and he's the sweetest, most positive man. That's why it's so sad. He's like, oh yeah, that sounds real. He's almost got a Fargo accent. Super positive, super upbeat. He's probably the closest it comes to like sad tears because he goes on a couple of dates. It doesn't go well. He's 60. He's a bit broken spirited afterwards. Just like, oh my God, this man will never see love in his life.
You start really feeling for him.
Oh, bro, it does break your heart. But the sweet sadness comes from the ones that do work out. And there's like there's an Indian family on the US Love on the Spectrum. I think the boy's name, he's like 32 years old. I think his name's Shabbat or something like that.
Sure.
Super traditional parents that met through an arranged marriage. So they're
very traditional Hinduism.
Yeah, they're like obviously Indians who have moved to America.
Yep.
And they have no idea about the dating world, so they really struggle to support Shabbat through the dating scene. Lucky he has a sweet sister who's about his age who's not on the spectrum. But the sweet sadness comes from the parents watching him when he, spoiler alert, finally finds some sort of happiness. Just like you're watching this Indian dad who's like so old, they probably don't show a whole lot of affection. And he sees his son like hugging this girl for the first time, and she just and his eyes are just watering up. It's not like ugly tears, it's just dad tears, like tears of pride. And it's just, oh my God, a dad watching his son happy for the first time in his life.
Very touching.
It's so genuine. So I want to preface not even preface. I think that I've made the point that I love the show and it's so sweet. And I watch it because it makes me feel good. But I think, and I want to put this delicately, is love on the spectrum what? Is love on the spectrum for neurotypical people what the biggest loser is for not that fat people?
So are you saying that for neurotypical people watching people on the spectrum trying to find love, is that the equivalent of the average Joe who's not overweight watching The Biggest Loser? I think there's a difference because I think... Good question. No is the
Just a thought.
Short answer is no.
Okay, I'm gonna state your piece, and I will tell you why I'm right.
Okay, all right. Sounds like I'm going into a conversation that it doesn't really matter what I say because you're going to say what you're going to say. I'd like to hear what you have to say, but at like the same time, Biggest Loser is, whilst it was initially petitioned and marketed as like, oh, we're watching people change their lives and we're inspiring others to get healthy, it's an exploitative reality TV show at the end of the day. Whereas because they make fat people do all these exercises and you watch them struggle and cry because they can't have ice cream at 2 a.m. like
as they wave the Snickers in front of their face and go, you won't get voted out for a week if you eat this one Snickers bar.
Exactly right. So I think especially like I didn't watch it towards the end, but it very much just seemed like it was all written in the same way as a lot of those reality TV shows like Dancing Mums or Survivor or whatever it is where they're trying to hook you. Love on the Spectrum seems a lot more documentarian. So
Fly on the wall.
it's fly on the wall, but it's also a lot more educational because it's this concept where we don't. The vast majority of neurotypical people don't understand what autism is or don't understand, what someone on the spectrum can go through. Because at the end of the day, the spectrum is incredibly wide. So what one person on the spectrum experiences is different from the next. But at the end of the day, I feel like this show is different from The Biggest Loser because it comes from an educator perspective and it is very feel-good, heartwarming, but it doesn't try to be. Whereas I feel like Biggest Loser is trying to push those narratives. They have those Dale, last week you gained 3 kilos. They cut back to Dale when he's like on the scale and it's all like it's in grayscale and they go, dude, you're fat. This week you're not as fat.
Totally. I agree that the tact in which they're both dealt is completely different. And Love on the Spectrum is, I wouldn't watch it if it was, I wouldn't feel the feelings I feel while watching it if it wasn't dealt with delicately. And it's super respectful. It never pokes fun at them. It never exploits them, whatever. It's not exploitative of their what is it when you're
someone who is neuroatypical.
Neuroatypical.
Or someone on the spectrum.
Someone on the spectrum. It never makes fun of them. But all of that being said, you can't tell me that in the same way that not fat people watch The Biggest Loser and go, God, I'm glad I'm not that fat. People who are neurotypical watch Love on the Spectrum and go, in the back of their mind somewhere, God, I'm so glad that I'm not on the spectrum. I think it makes you feel a little bit better about yourself. And I'm not proud of it, but if you watch that show and you tell me you don't feel better about yourself for not being autistic, you're a fucking goddamn liar.
Okay.
And 100%, because you watch these guys struggle on these dates.
Yeah.
Fucking can't make a romantic relationship, let alone make friends. It's so hard for them. We were watching that date with the girl and the guy and hiding under our jackets because we were cringing so hard. This is so painful.
It is. There's certain points like that where it's uncomfortable. Where it's like, yeah. I think
point made. He's speechless.
I wouldn't use the term like I'm glad I'm not them or I'm glad I'm not on the spectrum. Like at no point was it did the subconscious thought go, thank fuck I don't have to worry about that. Thank God I don't have to worry about making weird expressions to someone like when I'm thinking about asking them if they like Germany or not. But I see what you mean.
The point of a subconscious thought is you're not conscious of it.
Sure, but I also think right. I see what you mean. I disagree, though.
Interesting. That's all right. We can disagree. We don't have to agree.
I think
like part of the reason that it's such a big hit is there's an element of that in there because but you can say that like my logic, you could walk that out to apply it to Schindler's List and go, God, I'm glad I wasn't in the fucking Holocaust.
Sure.
Anything with tragedy or sadness in it, by my logic, you could say, oh, it's a good, people only watch it because they're glad that they're not in that case.
Yeah, I guess that's majority of television, isn't it? You're escaping reality to live vicariously through whatever the camera is capturing.
And whether it's better, it's an influencer, someone with a great life, then you're escaping your shitty life to go, oh, I can live through vicariously into that amazing life. Or if it's a really shitty life that's worse than yours, are you sitting there and going, it's still escapism, but your mind is going, okay, I'm glad that that's not my life. My life's better than that.
Yeah.
It's not making me, because when you look at an influencer who has an amazing life, sometimes you feel shitty, right? I wish I had that. I wish I was that hot.
Yep.
I wish I had that many followers. When you look at a life that's worse than yours, I think it has the opposite effect.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Just a thought.
Yeah, no, it's a thought. It's definitely a point. It's definitely a poignant thought.
Maybe one that's reserved for
I don't know. I think it's a divisive statement to make. I would rather say that, and maybe it's a safer statement to make, that this show's invoked an emotion that is very rare to find in any sort of media.
I think it does both. I think, like I said, I think it's profound. And it's a great insight into autistic people, and most of us don't have any or many of them in our lives. So you're seeing this insight into a world that you don't know exists, and you see the struggles that they're going through. Like again, so profound, and it almost made me cry sitting on the couch yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that thought is still there. I think that's
Sure.
hard to escape. I don't think it's just a human nature thing. I don't think we should feel guilty about it. Maybe we should feel a little bit guilty about it.
Look, all I would say is it wouldn't be a statement that I would make to the internet saying, God, I'm glad I'm not that guy.
Well, I think that I put it very delicately, and I'm not trying to be an edgelord.
I know you're not. I know you're not. I'm just saying it's a very poignant statement to make.
But that's all right. So, that's what I'm here for, Jacob. I think sometimes we need Jordan Liotta in the room to just look at me and go, your brain wiring sucks. And that thought should never be vocalized to the world.
Well, now you got me just being nice and going, you know what? That's a statement, and you can say it, and I'm going to stand on this side. Tom made it, not me.
That's fine. Hang out with me on this side of the mic, guys. It's way funner.
Speaking of statements, have we got any statements from any of our fans this week, Tom?
We actually have 2 statements now that you mention it, Jacob.
Being the man who's flying under the radar with his tinfoil hat, don't have access. Oh, I kind of do, but I don't, to all the reviews. So I rely on Tom to be the one who brings the bearer of good news, the spread, or to get all the results of us spreading the good word of OTAT.
Lance Farrelly of Part Australian, Part Chinese of My Dad fame writes in, a change of pace for the lads with a switch from free-to-air TV reviews to dodgeball. Reminds me when in 1965, Bob Dylan went from a folk singer with an acoustic guitar to an electric guitar.
Can't help yourself, can you?
To become a rock star.
I'm Bob Dylan. I can't. Your dad can't keep my name out of his mouth.
Your dad fucking loves me.
Your dad loves me, and I kind of sound like John Lennon now.
Yeah, that's a terrible Dylan.
Yeah, I'm Bob Dylan.
How many reviews must your dad write in before he doesn't mention my name?
The answer, my friend, is in the next review.
Some of his fans were very some of his fans were very angry, but these 2 pulled the switch off effortlessly. Whether it's vaping to the disapproval of Tom's mum or young Jacob abusing a dodgeball umpire, it's all good. And getting to the semis is a solid effort. A speech by an LBGT person, in brackets, whatever that is.
You really are your father's son. You are your father's keeper.
Sounds truly awful. This is not a reflection of me. This is my father's views.
Apple does not fall far.
Now my life is over. I can safely live my life through Tom and Jacob. 10 out of 10 hopeless speeches for this episode. Stay strong. Peace out.
Brilliant. Thank you, Smoked Paprika. Never going to get old of you mentioning Bob Dylan.
Never.
Or showing why you are the father of one of the hosts on this show.
That just shines through week after week.
Sounding more and more like your dad every week, mate.
Yeah, I think I'm truly evolving into a bottle of smoked paprika.
If you come into work tomorrow with an acoustic guitar under one arm and an electric guitar under the other, just going,
Hey, I'm ready to fucking work. Who's got a cigarette for me?
I only smoke rollies and my leather jacket.
Why can't we have peace? Because the world's hungry and I'm just want to get paid.
Go back to acoustic, but I like electric. I like that. I like that Dad is blaming all of the disapproval of vaping onto Mum, and so which implies that Dad's totally fine with it. Vape away, boy.
If he did care, and I'm not saying he does or he doesn't, but if he did care, he wouldn't have brought it up so nonchalantly in his review.
That's his way of caring.
Well,
that's him showing he cares.
I mean, if he was actually pissed off that you were vaping, I doubt he'd make a light bulb about it.
So you're suggesting that he doesn't care?
I think he's just like, look, he's young. He's a young rapscallion, and he's going to get into a little bit of trouble, maybe a little bit of argy-bargy from time to time, but nothing that a cold beer from a Chellyburn can't fix.
And I'll let your mother figure out the rest of it.
Yep.
I'll let your mother deal with the vaping.
Lynette, you step in here. I've got some tepid water oats to eat.
TAC, Christian Reese. Why don't you read this one, Jacob? It's an email there.
I can do that. Christian Reese, our Californian correspondent, CC. Boys, another fun episode of no particular topic. These episodes are like Seinfeld, about nothing in particular, but funny and relatable. Mate, outrageously high praise from you.
We are Seinfeldian, aren't we? I think we're the greatest comedians in the world.
Jerry, there's great shows on free-to-air television, Jerry, we're going to pivot. We're not going to talk about free-to-air television anymore.
Yeah. Kramer?
That was George.
Oh, that was George.
Jerry, come on, Jerry. But George, we're going to talk about the reveal from Christian Reese.
Fantastic.
Hello, Thomas.
Hello. Is that Jerry?
Jerry talking to Newman.
Yeah, nice. I haven't seen enough Seinfeld to
Here's what's the Kramer quote? Here's to feeling good all the time. Yeah. But yeah, Tom doesn't watch enough Seinfeld, but that's a lot of praise.
I'm the canned laughter.
Thank you, Christian.
Laughter.
Yes.
my character.
Otat is filmed in front of a live studio audience. There's just no laughter. That's how unfunny we are. It's filmed in front of a live studio audience, but they're not needed. Oh no, the mics are on. We're recording.
Oh, there's 2,000 people in the room, stone-faced. So Jacob, what do you think about Love on the Spectrum? Is it the same as The Biggest Loser?
That's great, Tom. All right. So
what did he say?
Yeah. So he writes on, "Fun you guys got to play some dodgeball. I've never really played, but it's much like you both. When I play volleyball, it's like my spikes are heat-seeking missiles aimed at people's faces. Whoops, my bad. I feel you there, man. I also have outrageous explosivity in my legs and am able to spike a ball like a Scud missile.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
Just joking. I also have an opinion about people who work at sports centers. Here in the US, they're generally the type of person who is studying to become a police officer in their mid-20s. Have a girlfriend who is way too young for them, takes the rules of beer pong way too seriously, drives a 10-year-old lowered BMW 3 Series, and has the same gelled hairstyle as he did in the early 2000s. You just described Paulie D from Jersey Shore.
Yeah, sports centers in the States are full of Paulie Ds.
It's funny because I think I tick a few of these boxes here. Definitely take rules of beer pong too seriously. Very, very petty in a game of beer pong.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen a night almost ruined by Jacob playing a game of beer pong.
I don't love it, but sometimes the emotions take over, and I pull out so we're playing by those rules. Okay, cool. If you just want to change the rules midway, just let us know. Really passive aggressive, can you just give us the information?
I've played against you. Remember me, Will McCoy versus you and Nick?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
At your place on your tiny table,
huge table downstairs. What are you talking about? The big wooden one.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking your old apartment.
No, not the indoors one. No, fuck that. But yes, I have seen Jacob just, I don't want to say freak out, but get very passionate about the rules.
They call me the property manager because I get a whole lot of free real estate in people's heads.
Yeah, it's free up there.
Does it work?
He's living.
Not all the time.
Does it win in beer pong games? It ruins the night.
So, yeah, sometimes. Do I lose friends in the process? Better believe it.
I lose friends, but I win beer pong.
Christian finishes off, I give this episode 10 out of 10 rubber ball smashed faces. Would recommend. TAC, kind regards, Christian Reese, JD Esquire, sent from my iPhone. Please excuse any typos. That must just be an automated thing he just puts at the end of his...
Yeah, or he types it out every time.
That's dedication if he does.
I think I'm getting a little bit of bouncer energy from his indoor sports employees over there. Like a small taste of authority that
abuse of the small authority that they have.
Yeah. The smallest amount of power you've seen go to anyone's head. Officiating a social charity fueled dodgeball game. Yeah. That's why Jacob fucking yelled at him last week.
A, didn't yell. B, I don't think he was power drunk. I think he was just incompetent. No. He was. I will say that I was in the wrong because whilst he didn't call the rules properly, I was heated. I had adrenaline coursing through my blood clotted veins.
Can't be blamed.
My cholesterol fueled veins, and emotions got the best of me. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to stick up for. It's the principle, Tom.
And someone had to, Jacob. If you didn't keep the man on his toes, who knows what rubbish call he would have made next.
Exactly. Exactly. He might have, what they say about a butterfly flapping on one end of the world can cause a tidal wave on the other.
Of course it can.
Imagine if he made another shit call.
Well, I think if you didn't call him out for the safety zone that you called him out on, next he might have been making a call like, oh, you knocked the glasses off her face. That doesn't count. And it's like, of course it should. Oh, you knocked her out and then spat on her face afterwards. She's 18 years old. Well, ref.
I'm not saying they're related, but the call was made and it was exactly roughly 2 years and a few months before that COVID pandemic started. Correlation, causation, you be the judge.
You tell us. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
And as Tom just said, I would like to second that. You tell us if you do want to get involved in anything on the air tonight, if you've got a subject that you want us to discuss, or if you've got a TV show that you want us to jump into, if you've got some feedback on the show, if there's anything that you've ever wanted to say to us, now is the time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment on one of our videos, follow us on Instagram and give us a comment on one of our posts there, or DM us. Any way that you get in contact with us, we'll make sure that you read out to the masses.
We will get back to you.
Sure.
I don't know how much I can stress that.
He says
we will get back to you.
He says we as if I'm going to be doing any sort of work.
Well, you put the call
Tom
out.
does all the legwork.
Yeah, Jacob puts the call out on the podcast. Please message us. Please interact.
I'm so lonely.
And then,
all I want is love.
And then he switches off his phone until the next episode and goes, Potatas wouldn't know you're out there. Don't have socials.
What about a different reality show where you try and find the special person for you that likes doing butt stuff in bed? It's called Love in the Rectum.
Nice. Nice, dude. Love in the Rectum.
Come on.
Yeah. This is season 2, episode 3, anal beads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sign me up.
And no, are they autistic or are they neurotypical?
Or people on the spectrum have buttholes as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Can we make a Love on the Spectrum spin-off that is Love on the Spectrum in the Rectum?
Inspect the spectrum rectum. Let's go.
Inspect
the spectrum rectum.
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect.
Michael, I reckon you're the first one to get the call up.
Michael?
He was the guy in the suit.
Yes.
The guy who's been on Ellen. On the Australian Love on the Spectrum.
Come on.
I think you'd be down.
Get in touch with us. We know you're a fan.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy, or if you did make it this far, I should say, we'd like to thank you so much for joining us on the air tonight once again. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.